Católica mpingo ama ukonda Ecclesia Be abambo a Católica mpingo timaonyadira Ecclesia na wanyamata a Católica mpingo
Também participam desta audiência os peregrinos da Arquidiocese de Évora, Portugal, com seu arcebispo Francisco Senra Coelho.
Laudetur Jesus Christus, praised be Jesus Christ, and welcome to this live-streamed broadcast of Pope Leo XIV's Wednesday General Audience, being held today in St. Peter's Square. My name is Devin Watkins, and I'll be providing the English language commentary and translations for this papal audience. And from wherever you're joining us, I'd like to welcome you to this live broadcast. Some of you may be joining us through various Vatican media channels, perhaps the Vatican News app or the Radio Vaticana app, the Vatican News web portal or the Vatican News English YouTube channel or our Facebook Live feed. We also welcome all of you who are joining us through our television partners, and to all of you who are joining us through various radio stations, among whom are our radio partners from dioceses across the world. A special welcome to all of our friends from the Deaf Catholic Youth Initiative for the Americas, DCYIA. Please visit our Vatican News YouTube channel to find translation of this event and many others in American Sign Language, or ASL. As we go to air this morning, on Wednesday, June 25th, Pope Leo XIV is just concluding making his rounds to greet the faithful gathered in St. Peter's Square for this general audience. He started a little bit early this morning making his rounds. He moved it up about 30 minutes from, he's usually been starting around 10 o'clock. It's almost 9:30 now. Moved it up because of the heat that's beginning to take hold here in Rome. It's been a little bit warmer the last couple of weeks, and so to help the faithful out with the heat to get it moving, he's moved it up a little bit this morning. As we see, the Holy Father is greeting the faithful here in a sunny St. Peter's Square, making his way up to the steps, the Parvis, in front of St. Peter's Basilica. The Holy Father has been focusing his catechesis series on Jesus Christ, our hope. During this Jubilee 2025, which was begun by Pope Francis late last year, at the end of the year, after the beginning of the Jubilee, and now Pope Leo, his successor, is picking up on this, focusing on the life of Jesus, especially in the parables. For those of you joining us on radio, describe that the Holy Father is greeting the faithful as the gendarmes are bringing young children, little babies, for the Holy Father to bless, and bringing them up to the Pope Mobile. The Holy Father this morning will likely focus on the Gospel which is taken today from the Gospel of Mark, chapter 5, verses 33 to 36, and the healing of the woman with a hemorrhage and the raising of the daughter of Jairus. We will hear just the center part, the of this pericope, this passage of the Gospel. The Holy Father will, the Gospel will be read, and it's just the center part of this passage, which begins with the Holy Father, with Jesus being approached by a synagogue official and named Jairus, whose daughter is very sick. He asks Jesus to visit his home, and as Jesus is on his way, he's approached in the crowds by a woman who's had a hemorrhage for 12 years. And in Jewish society at the time, to have such a hemorrhage, uncontrolled bleeding for such a long time, was considered unclean, and so she had been excluded in a way from the community. The daughter of Jairus is also 12 years old, and so Jesus is on his way to Jairus' house, and he's approached by this woman with a hemorrhage. She touches his cloak, and he heals her. The Gospel says he felt the power go out from him, and she's healed, and he asks, "Who touched me?" And his disciples say, "Lord, there are so many people here, everyone's jostling, how should we know who touched you?" And then he speaks to the woman, and that's the part that we will hear here in the Gospel. And then afterwards he continues on his way and arrives at Jairus' house and is given as we know, he heals, raises the daughter of Jairus. And so this is a story within a story, the story of the woman with the hemorrhage inside the story of the healing of the daughter of Jairus. And the part we will hear this morning, in which the Holy Father will focus his catechesis on, is precisely on that center part where the woman is, Jesus speaks to the woman, and he also, in the transition to the other part of the story, the surrounding the frame, and he speaks to the synagogue official. So we will hear Jesus in the Gospel speak to these two recipients of his grace. The Holy Father has made his way up to the stage set up here in the front of St. Peter's Square. He stopped for a moment to greet some of the readers here at this general audience, and he will now begin with the liturgical greeting and in Italian, and we are welcome to join with him.
Disponiamoci ad accogliere la sua parola e a ricevere la sua benedizione.
Nel nome del Padre, del Figlio, dello Spirito Santo, la pace sia con voi.
Dal Vangelo secondo Marco. La donna, impaurita e tremante, sapendo ciò che le era accaduto, venne, gli si gettò davanti e gli disse tutta la verità. Ed egli le disse: «Figlia, la tua fede ti ha salvata. Va in pace e sii guarita dal tuo male». Stava ancora parlando quando dalla casa del capo della sinagoga vennero a dire: «Tua figlia è morta, perché disturbi ancora il maestro?» Ma Gesù, udito quanto dicevano, disse al capo della sinagoga: «Non temere, soltanto abbi fede». Parola di Dio.
De l'Évangile de Saint Marc. Alors la femme, saisie de crainte et toute tremblante, sachant ce qui lui était arrivé, vint se jeter à ses pieds et lui dit toute la vérité. Jésus lui dit alors: « Ma fille, ta foi t'a sauvée. Va en paix et sois guérie de ton mal. » Comme il parlait encore, des gens arrivent de la maison de Jaïr, le chef de synagogue, pour dire à celui-ci, ta fille vient de mourir. À quoi bon déranger encore le maître? Jésus, supprenant ces mots, dit au chef de synagogue, ne crains pas, crois seulement. Parole du Seigneur.
A reading from the Gospel according to St. Mark. But the woman, knowing what had happened to her, came in fear and trembling, fell down before him, and told him the whole truth. He said to her, "Daughter, your faith has made you well. Go in peace and be healed of your disease." While he was still speaking, some people came from the leader's house to say, "Your daughter is dead. Why trouble the teacher any further?" But overhearing what they said, Jesus said to the leader of the synagogue, "Do not fear, only believe." The word of the Lord.
Lesung aus dem Markus-Evangelium. Da kam die Frau zitternd vor Furcht, weil sie wusste, was
And now we're hearing the Gospel of Mark read in German, which will be followed by Spanish, Chinese, Portuguese, Arabic, Polish, and Italian.
Kamen Leute, die zum Haus des Synagogenvorstehers gehörten und sagten, deine Tochter ist gestorben, warum bemühst du den Meister noch länger? Jesus, der diese Worte gehört hatte, sagte zu dem Synagogenvorsteher, fürchte dich nicht, glaube nur. Wort des lebendigen Gottes.
Lectura del Santo Evangelio según San Marcos. Entonces la mujer, muy asustada y temblando, porque sabía bien lo que le había ocurrido, fue a arrojarse a los pies y le confesó toda la verdad. Jesús le dijo, hija, tu fe te ha salvado, vete en paz y queda curada de tu enfermedad. Todavía estaba hablando cuando llegaron unas personas de la casa del jefe de la sinagoga y le dijeron, tu hija ya murió, ¿para qué vas a seguir molestando al maestro? Pero Jesús, sin tener en cuenta esas palabras, dijo al jefe de la sinagoga, no temas, basta que creas. Palabra del Señor.
攻读圣马尔谷福音，那妇人明知在自己身上所成的事，就战战兢兢地前来，跪伏在耶稣前，把实情完全告诉了他。耶稣便向他说：“女儿，你的信德救了你，平安去吧，你的疾病必得痊愈。”他还说话的时候，有人从会堂长家里来说：“你的女儿死了，你还来烦劳师傅做什么？”耶稣听见所说的话，就给会堂长说：“不要怕，只管信。”以上是基督的福音。
Leitura do Evangelho de São Marcos. A mulher, cheia de medo e a tremer, sabendo o que lhe tinha acontecido, foi prostrar-se diante dele e disse toda a verdade. Disse-lhe ele, filha, a tua fé salvou-te. Vai em paz e sê curada do teu mal. Ainda ele estava a falar quando da casa do chefe da sinagoga vieram dizer, a tua filha morreu. De que serve agora incomodares o mestre? Mas Jesus, que surpreendera as palavras proferidas, disse ao chefe da sinagoga, não tenhas receio, crê somente. Palavra da salvação.
من إنجيل ربنا يسوع المسيح للقديس مرقس.
We hear the Gospel according to Mark being read in Arabic. Remember, this is chapter 5, verses 33 to 36.
فاذهبي بسلام وتعافي من علتك. وبينما هو يتكلم وصل أناس من عند رئيس المجمع يقولون: ابنتك ماتت فلم تزعج المعلم؟ فلم يبالي يسوع بهذا الكلام، بل قال لرئيس المجمع: لا تخف، آمن فقط. كلام الرب.
Z Ewangelii według świętego Marka. Wtedy kobieta podeszła zalękniona i drżąca, gdyż wiedziała, co się z nią stało. Padła przed Jezusem i wyznała mu całą prawdę. On zaś rzekł do niej: córko, twoja wiara cię ocaliła. Idź w pokoju i bądź wolna od swej dolegliwości. Gdy on jeszcze mówił, oto przyszli ludzie od przełożonego synagogi i donieśli: twoja córka umarła, czemu jeszcze trudzisz nauczyciela? Lecz Jezus, słysząc, co mówiono, rzekł przełożonemu synagogi: nie bój się, wierz tylko. Oto słowo Pańskie.
And now we will hear the Holy Father deliver his catechesis for this general audience.
Cari fratelli e sorelle, anche oggi meditiamo sulle guarigioni di Gesù come segno di speranza.
Dear brothers and sisters, today, too, we consider the healings of Jesus as a sign of hope. In Him, there is strength that we, too, can experience when we enter into a relationship with Him. A very widespread ailment of our time is the fatigue of living. Reality seems to us to be too complex, burdensome, difficult to face. And so we switch off, we fall asleep in the delusion that upon waking things will be different. But reality has to be faced, and together with Jesus, we can do it well. At times we feel blocked by the judgment of those who claim to put labels on others. It seems to me that these situations can find an answer in the passage from the Gospel of Mark, where two stories intertwine, that of a 12-year-old girl who is sick in bed and is dying, and that of a woman who has been bleeding for precisely 12 years and seeks out Jesus in order to be healed.
Tra queste due figure femminili, l'Evangelista colloca il personaggio del padre della ragazza.
Between these two female figures, the evangelist places the character of the girl's father. He does not stay at home complaining about his daughter's illness, but rather he goes out and asks for help. Although he is the head of the synagogue, he makes no demands on account of his social position. When it is necessary to wait, he does not lose his patience, and he waits. And when they come to tell him that his daughter is dead, and it is pointless to disturb the master, he continues to have faith and to hope. The conversation between this father and Jesus is interrupted by the bleeding woman, who manages to come close to Jesus and to touch his cloak. This woman, with great courage, made the decision that would change her life. Everyone continued to tell her to keep her distance, to keep out of view. They had condemned her to stay hidden and isolated. At times we too can be victims of the judgments of others, who presume to put a robe on us that is not our own. And then we suffer and cannot come out of it.
Quella donna imbocca la via della salvezza quando germoglia in lei la fede che Gesù può guarirla.
That woman embarks on the path of salvation when the faith that Jesus can heal her germinates. So she finds the strength to come out and go in search of him. She wants to reach out and at least touch his garment. Around Jesus there is a large crowd, and therefore many people were touching him. And yet nothing happens to them. Instead, when this woman touches Jesus, she is healed. Where does the difference lie? In this commentary on this point of the text, St. Augustine says, in Jesus' name, the crowd jostles, faith touches. It is thus, every time we perform an act of faith to address to Jesus, contact is established with him, and immediately his grace comes out from him. At times we are unaware of it, but in a secret and real way, grace reaches us and gradually transforms our life from within.
Tante persone si accostano a Gesù in modo superficiale, senza credere veramente nella sua potenza. Calpestiamo la superficie delle nostre chiese, ma forse
Perhaps today too many people approach Jesus in a superficial way, without truly believing in his power. We walk the surfaces of our churches, but maybe our heart is elsewhere. This woman, silent and anonymous, conquers her fears, touches the heart of Jesus with her hands, considered unclean because of her illness, and she is immediately healed. Jesus says to her, "Daughter, your faith has saved you. Go in peace." In the meantime, the father receives the news that his daughter is dead. Jesus says to him, "Do not be afraid, just have faith." And then goes to the house, and seeing that everyone is weeping and wailing, says, "The child is not dead, but asleep." He enters the chamber where the girl is lying, takes her hand, and says to her, "Talitha cum," "Little girl, arise." The girl stands up and starts to walk. Jesus' act shows us that not only does he heal from every illness, but he also awakens from death. For God, who is eternal life, death of the body is like sleep. True death is that of the soul. Of this we must be afraid.
Gesù, dopo aver risuscitato la bambina, dice ai genitori di darle da mangiare.
One last detail. Jesus, after reviving the child, tells the parents to give her something to eat. Here is another very concrete sign of Jesus' closeness to our humanity. But we can also understand it in a deeper sense and ask ourselves, when our children are in crisis and need spiritual nourishment, do we know how to give it to them? And how can we, if we ourselves are not nourished by the gospel? Dear brothers and sisters, in life there are moments of disappointment and discouragement, and there is also the experience of death. Let us learn from that woman, from that father. Let us go to Jesus. He can heal us. He can revive us. Jesus is our hope. And those were the words of the Holy Father's catechesis for this weekly general audience. And now we will hear the greetings to the Holy Father in French and a summary read in French of his catechesis.
À toutes les intentions de votre ministère apostolique universel. À la fin de l'audience, nous chanterons le Notre Père en latin. Puis le Saint-Père donnera la bénédiction apostolique. Il l'accorde spécialement aux enfants, aux personnes âgées et aux personnes qui souffrent. Il bénira également les chapelets et les autres objets de dévotion que vous avez apportés à cette intention. Voici un résumé en français de la catéchèse que vient de prononcer le Saint-Père. Frères et sœurs, notre méditation d'aujourd'hui porte sur les guérisons opérées par Jésus comme signe d'espérance. Le mal de vivre est une maladie très répandue de notre temps. Mais nous devons faire face à la réalité avec le Christ. Les histoires de la jeune fille de 12 ans et de la femme hémorroïde sont un écho aux situations complexes de la vie. Le père de la jeune fille malade ne se laisse pas abattre, mais il sort et demande de l'aide. Avec beaucoup de courage, la femme hémorroïde prend une décision qui change sa vie. Elle emprunte le chemin du salut lorsque germe en elle la foi que Jésus peut la guérir. Chaque fois que nous faisons un acte de foi envers Jésus, nous établissons un contact avec lui et immédiatement, il donne sa grâce. Jésus nous montre avec la jeune fille qu'il ne guérit pas seulement de toutes les maladies, mais qu'il ressuscite aussi d'entre les morts. Pour Dieu, qui est vie éternelle, la mort du corps est comme un sommeil. La vraie mort est celle de l'âme. Il y a dans la vie non seulement des moments de déception et de découragement, mais aussi l'expérience de la mort. Jésus, notre espérance, nous guérit et nous fait renaître. Maintenant, le Saint-Père va saluer en italien les fidèles de langue française.
Saluto cordialmente i pellegrini di lingua francese, in particolare quelli provenienti dal Canada, dalla Costa d'Avorio, da Belgio e dalla Francia. Fratelli e sorelle, per intercessione dei santi Pietro e Paolo, colonne della Chiesa, possiamo noi, in mezzo alle fatiche e alle difficoltà umane, andare verso Gesù, nostra speranza e nostra vita. Dio vi benedica.
I warmly greet the French-speaking pilgrims, especially those from Canada, Côte d'Ivoire, Belgium, and France. Brothers and sisters, through the intercession of Saints Peter and Paul, the pillars of the Church, may we, amid our human fatigue and difficulties, go to Jesus, our life and our hope. May God bless you.
Notre espérance et notre vie. Que Dieu vous bénisse.
And now we will hear the greetings and summary of the audience read in English.
Most Holy Father, the English-speaking pilgrims and visitors wish to express to you their sentiments of deep respect and esteem, and to assure you of their prayers for your ministry as the successor of Peter. At the end of the audience, we will sing together the Our Father in Latin. His Holiness will then impart his apostolic blessing, which he extends in a particular way to the members of your families at home. He also intends to bless any religious articles you may have brought for this purpose. And in a special way, his blessing goes to your children, the elderly, and those who are sick.
Dear brothers and sisters, in our continuing catechesis on the Jubilee theme of Christ our hope, we now consider two miracles that reveal the healing power born of faith in Jesus. In the first, we see a woman suffering from an illness that had led her to be shunned by society as unclean. Trusting that Jesus has the power to heal her, she reaches out to touch him, and because of her faith, she is healed. Whenever we reach out to the Lord in faith, He in turn touches us, and His grace begins mysteriously to change the course of our lives. In the second miracle, Jesus responds to the faith-filled plea of a distressed father and raises a young girl from the dead. These two gospel accounts teach us to be unafraid to turn to Jesus in prayer and to entrust ourselves to the healing power of His love, which can transform apparently hopeless situations and even bring life out of death. I'm happy to welcome this morning the English-speaking pilgrims and visitors taking part in today's audience. Especially those coming from Malta, Eswatini, Ghana, Kenya, South Africa, Australia, China, India, Indonesia, the Philippines, South Korea, and the United States of America. I offer special greetings to the members of Citizens UK Catholic Movement. As the month of June draws to a close, we ask the Sacred Heart of Jesus to increase our faith as we turn to Him in trust. God bless you all.
And now, after hearing the Holy Father greet the English-speaking pilgrims and visitors to this general audience, we hear the greetings in German.
Und versichern Sie zugleich Ihres Gebets in allen Anliegen Ihres universalen apostolischen Dienstes. Zum Abschluss dieser Generalaudienz singen wir gemeinsam das Vaterunser in lateinischer Sprache. Danach wird der Heilige Vater den apostolischen Segen erteilen. Gern schließt er darin ihre Angehörigen ein, besonders die Kinder, die älteren Menschen und die Leidenden. Er segnet auch die Rosenkränze und die übrigen Andachtsgegenstände, die sie dafür mitgebracht haben. Es folgt nun eine Zusammenfassung der Katechese des Heiligen Vaters in deutscher Sprache. Liebe Brüder und Schwestern, das Markus-Evangelium berichtet in der soeben gehörten Perikope von der Heilung einer langjährig kranken Frau und von der Auferweckung der jungen Tochter des Synagogenvorstehers Jairus. Voller Hoffnung und Vertrauen versucht die Frau, zumindest das Gewand Jesu zu berühren. In dem Gedränge kamen viele Menschen mit Jesus in Berührung. Der Glaube dieser Frau aber ist es, der eine tiefere, eine gnadenvolle Begegnung ermöglicht. Auch Jairus wird von Jesus zum Glauben ermutigt. Fürchte dich nicht, glaube nur. Sodann erlebt er, dass Jesus nicht nur von Krankheiten heilen, sondern sogar vom Tode auferwecken kann. Wenden wir uns in unseren Nöten mit demselben Vertrauen an den Herrn, der auch uns heilen und zum Leben führen will. Der Heilige Vater richtet nun einen kurzen Gruß auf Italienisch an die deutschsprachigen Gläubigen.
Cari fratelli e sorelle di lingua tedesca, in questi giorni i vescovi, i sacerdoti e i seminaristi celebrano il loro giubileo. Sosteniamoli nella loro vocazione e preghiamo per loro, perché possano essere pastori secondo il Sacro Cuore di Gesù.
Dear German-speaking brothers and sisters, in these days the bishops, priests, and seminarians are celebrating their Jubilee. Let us support them in their vocation and pray for them, that they may be shepherds after the most sacred heart of Jesus. And now we'll hear the greetings in Spanish to the Holy Father, and then the Holy Father will read his catechesis and greet the Spanish-speaking faithful.
Padre, los visitantes y peregrinos de lengua española que participan en esta audiencia desean manifestarle cordialmente sus sentimientos de filial afecto que acompañan con fervientes oraciones por sus intenciones de pastor de toda la Iglesia. Al final de este encuentro se cantará el Padre Nuestro en latín. Después, su santidad impartirá a todos los presentes la bendición apostólica que extiende complacido a sus familiares, especialmente a los niños y a los ancianos, a los enfermos y a cuantos sufren. Bendice también los rosarios y objetos de devoción que los peregrinos llevan consigo.
Queridos hermanos y hermanas, hoy meditamos sobre las curaciones que Jesús realizó como signo de esperanza. El Evangelio que hemos escuchado nos presenta dos historias, la de una mujer enferma desde hace 12 años y la de una niña que está por morir. La mujer, considerada impura y condenada al aislamiento, se atreve a acercarse a Jesús en silencio, convencida de que basta tocar su manto para sanar. Aunque muchos tocaban a Cristo entre la muchedumbre, solo ella fue curada. ¿Por qué? Porque lo tocó con fe. Quizás también hoy muchos se acercan a Jesús de manera superficial. Entramos en nuestras iglesias, pero nuestro corazón se queda afuera. Esta mujer, silenciosa y anónima, venció sus miedos y tocó el corazón de Jesús con manos que todos juzgaban impuras. Y el Señor la sanó a causa de su fe. El padre de la niña tampoco se rinde ante la noticia de la muerte. Jesús le dice, no temas, solo ten fe. Entra en la casa, toma a la niña de la mano y la vida vuelve. Es inmensa la fuerza de una fe sincera que toca a Jesús con confianza, aun desde la debilidad, porque deja que sus benditas manos actúen. Cuando la fe es verdadera, se confirma nuestra esperanza. La gracia de Cristo actúa y nos es devuelta la vida. Saludo cordialmente.
I warmly greet the Spanish-speaking pilgrims.
En modo particular,
especially the priests and seminarians from Spain, Mexico, Puerto Rico, Ecuador, Colombia, El Salvador, and Venezuela. In life, there are moments of disappointment, discouragement, and even death. Let us learn from that woman and that father. Let us go to Jesus. He can heal us. He can restore our life. He is our hope. Thank you very much. Greetings will now be read in Mandarin Chinese.
圣父教宗讲中文的信众希望向您表达他们的孝爱之情和诚挚的忠贞，并为您普世宗徒使命的全部意向祈祷。公开接见的最后，我们一起用拉丁文唱天主经。最后，圣父教宗将颁赐宗座辖服，特别降服儿童、老人和受苦的人。教宗还将祝圣每一位随身携带的玫瑰念珠和圣物。以下是教宗在公开接见开始时讲出的要理摘要。亲爱的弟兄姐妹们，我们继续以耶稣基督我们的希望为主题的喜年要理讲授。今天对2个奇迹进行省思，它们彰显了因信赖耶稣而来的治愈能力。 在第一个奇迹中，我们看到一个深受病苦的妇人，她受到社会的排斥，认为她不洁净。这妇人相信耶稣有能力治愈她，伸手触摸耶稣的衣裳，凭着信德，她痊愈了。我们每一次凭着信德向上主祈求，他都会触动我们，他的恩宠也开始奇妙地改变我们生活的进程。在第二个奇迹中，耶稣应允一位焦虑万分但充满信德的父亲的请求，从死亡中复活了一个少女。福音的这两个记述教导我们，不要害怕在祈祷中转向耶稣，将我们交付于他的爱的治愈大能。这治愈的能力可转变看似没有希望的境遇，甚至让生命从死亡中诞生。现在圣父教宗将用意大利语问候大家。
Rivolgo il mio cordiale saluto alle persone di lingua cinese. Cari fratelli e sorelle, assicuro la mia preghiera per tutte le vostre intenzioni di bene. A tutti la mia benedizione.
我向讲中文的人们致以
I extend a warm greeting to the Chinese-speaking people. Dear brothers and sisters, I assure you of my prayers for all your good intentions. I bless you all. And now the greetings and summary will be read in Portuguese.
Santo Padre, os fiéis de língua portuguesa desejam testemunhar-lhe filial afeto e sincera fidelidade e rezam por todas as intenções do seu ministério apostólico universal. No final desta audiência, cantaremos a oração do Pai Nosso em latim. Depois, o Santo Padre concederá a bênção apostólica com um pensamento especial às crianças, aos idosos e aos doentes. Abençoará também os terços e demais objetos de devoção que cada um tiver consigo. Leio agora um resumo da catequese que o Santo Padre acaba de pronunciar. Ao meditarmos sobre as curas de Jesus como sinais de esperança, concentremo-nos hoje nas histórias da filha de Jairo e da hemorroíça. Esta, enquanto Jesus se dirigia para a casa de Jairo, aproximou-se dele e tocou-o, não de um modo superficial, mas movida pela fé, acreditando firmemente que ele a podia curar. E graças à fé, ela viu-se livre da doença. Entretanto, da casa de Jairo trouxeram-lhe a notícia de que a sua filha tinha morrido. Porém, Jesus tranquiliza aquele pai e encoraja-o a manter a fé. Não tenhas receio, crê somente. Também hoje é a fé que nos permite ir ao encontro de Jesus e tocá-lo ou ser tocados por ele, o Senhor que nos salva do mal e nos dá esperança. Agora o Santo Padre saúda em italiano os fiéis de língua portuguesa.
Cari fedeli di lingua portoghese, benvenuti. Saluto in modo speciale i sacerdoti provenienti da Braga e Viana do Castelo, in Portogallo, e da Teresina, Castagnal, Nazaré e Santo Amaro, in Brasile. All'avvicinarsi della fine del mese di giugno, rivolgiamo più intensamente lo sguardo al cuore di Gesù. A partire da Lui, ridoniamo a questo nostro mondo un cuore che sa amare, perdonare e prendersi cura degli altri. Dio vi benedica.
Dear Portuguese-speaking faithful, welcome. I especially greet the priests from Braga and Viana do Castelo in Portugal, and from Teresina, Castanal in Nazaré, and Santo Amaro in Brazil. As we approach the end of June, let us turn our gaze more intensely to the heart of Jesus. From him, let us once again give this world of ours a heart that knows how to love, forgive, and care for others. God bless you.
Deus vos abençoe.
The greetings and catechesis summary will now be read in Arabic.
أيها الأب الأقدس، يسر المؤمنين الناطقين باللغة العربية الحاضرين هنا أن يعبروا لكم عن مشاعر الاحترام والتقدير وشكرهم البنوي ويرفقونها بصلواتهم الدائمة إلى الله من أجل قداستكم وخدمتكم كخليفة القديس بطرس. في نهاية هذه المقابلة سنرتل معا صلاة الأبانا باللغة اللاتينية، ثم سيمنح الأب الأقدس جميع الحاضرين البركة الرسولية، ويشمل بها جميع أحبائكم وخاصة الأطفال والمتزوجين حديثا والمسنين والمرضى والمتألمين بألام شديدة. وسيبارك كذلك المسابح والأشياء التقوية التي يحملها معه كل واحد منكم. إليكم ملخص التعليم المسيحي لقداسة البابا لون الرابع عشر. تكلم قداسة البابا اليوم على شفاء المرأة المنزوفة وإحياء ابنة يائيروس رئيس المجمع في إطار تعليمه في موضوع يسوع المسيح هو رجاؤنا، وقال: في حادثة إحياء ابنة يائيروس لم يبقى يائيروس في البيت يشتكي من مرض ابنته، بل خرج يطلب المساعدة من يسوع. وعندما علم أن ابنته قد ماتت استمر في إيمانه ورجائه، لهذا شفى يسوع ابنته وأعادها إلى الحياة لأنه هو رب الحياة. وبعد أن أقام يسوع الصبي من الموت طلب أن يطعموها، وهذا يدل على قرب يسوع من واقع حياتنا. وفي حادثة شفاء المرأة المنزوفة المنعزلة عن المجتمع بسبب مرضها نجد إصرارها بأن تقترب من يسوع وتلمس رداءه لأنها آمنت أنها ستنال الشفاء. استطاعت هذه المرأة أن تتغلب على مخاوفها فلمست قلب يسوع فنالت هي أيضا الشفاء. في الحياة توجد لحظات إحباط ويوجد الموت أيضا. أمام كل صعابنا لنذهب إلى يسوع، فهو قادر أن يشفينا وأن يجعلنا نولد من جديد لأنه هو رجاؤنا. والآن تحية البابا باللغة الإيطالية لأبناء الشرق الناطقين اللغة العربية.
Saluto i fedeli di lingua araba. Cari ragazzi, giovani e studenti, con l'inizio delle vacanze estive vi invito a continuare la preghiera e a imitare le qualità del giovane Gesù, che cresceva in sapienza, età e grazia davanti a Dio e agli uomini. Il Signore vi benedica tutti e vi protegga sempre da ogni male.
أحيي المؤمنين الناطقين باللغة العربية.
I greet the Arabic-speaking faithful. Dear young men and women, students, with the start of the summer holidays, I invite you to remain faithful in prayer and to imitate the qualities of the young Jesus, who grew in wisdom, stature, and favor with God and others. May the Lord bless you all and always protect you from all evil.
Ojcze Święty, pielgrzymi z Polski,
And now the greetings will be read in Polish.
Waszej świątobliwości wyrazy szczerego oddania i synowskiej modlitwy, zapewniając o modlitwie we wszystkich intencjach Jego apostolskiej posługi. Na zakończenie audiencji zaśpiewamy modlitwę Ojcze Nasz po łacinie. Po jej zakończeniu Ojciec Święty udzieli apostolskiego błogosławieństwa, obejmując nim szczególnie dzieci, osoby w podeszłym wieku i dotknięte cierpieniem. Pobłogosławi także różańce i dewocjonalia, jakie pielgrzymi przynieśli ze sobą. Oto streszczenie katechezy Ojca Świętego. W dzisiejszej katechezie rozważamy kolejne uzdrowienia, których dokonuje Jezus. Dla nas, często zmęczonych i rozczarowanych, są one znakiem nadziei. Kobieta cierpiąca na krwotok, pragnąca choćby dotknąć skrawka jego szaty, zachęca nas do odwagi i wiary w poszukiwaniu spotkania z Panem, pomimo osądów innych. Zaś wskrzeszenie córki Jaira przypomina, że bardziej niż śmierci ciała powinniśmy lękać się śmierci duszy. Niech rośnie w nas troska o to, abyśmy sami, karmiąc się Ewangelią, umieli czerpać z niej pocieszenie, zwłaszcza dla dzieci, które cierpią, przeżywają kryzysy i potrzebują duchowego wsparcia. Teraz Ojciec Święty pozdrowi nas Polaków w języku włoskim.
Saluto cordialmente i polacchi. Vi invito a lasciarvi accompagnare ogni giorno dalla lettura del Vangelo, sia per voi nutrimento spirituale, capace di rafforzarvi nel portare la fede e la speranza nei vostri ambienti. La prossima solennità dei Santi Pietro e Paolo sia per voi un'occasione per rinnovare il legame personale con la comunità della Chiesa e la premurosa preghiera per i suoi pastori. Vi benedica di cuore.
Oto słowa Ojca Świętego. Serdecznie pozdrawiam Polaków.
I warmly greet the Polish people. I encourage you to read the Gospel daily. May it be for you a spiritual nourishment, enabling you to carry faith and hope into your communities. And may the upcoming solemnity of Saints Peter and Paul be an opportunity to renew your personal bond with the church community and your prayerful concern for its shepherds. I bless you from the bottom of my heart.
Serca wam błogosławię.
The Holy Father will now greet the Italian-speaking faithful.
Santo Padre, I fedeli di lingua italiana desiderano esprimere.
And we recall with the reader that the Holy Father, following his greetings to the Italian-speaking faithful, will lead the Our Father in Latin and offer his apostolic blessing to all of those gathered there in St. Peter's Square and all of us following through means of modern communication. Last Sunday, a vile attack, terrorist attack, was carried out against the Greek Orthodox community of Mar Elias in Damascus. We entrust the victims to the mercy of God, and we raise our prayers for the victims and their families. To the Christians of the Middle East, I say I am close to you. The entire church is close to you. This tragic occurrence recalls the profound fragility of Syria after years of conflict and instability. And it is fundamental that the international community must not turn its gaze from this country but continue to offer acts of solidarity and concern, and with renewed search for peace and reconciliation. Let us continue to follow with faith and hope the situation in Iran, Israel, and Palestine. The words of the prophet Isaiah resound forcefully still. Let no nation raise a sword against another. They will not learn more the art of war. Let us listen to this voice.
May
this voice that comes from on high be listened to. and let us avoid the deadly, bloody attacks that have been carried out in the recent days, and let us set aside any desire for revenge, but to follow the path of dialogue and diplomacy and peace. I extend a cordial welcome to the Italian-speaking pilgrims. In particular, I greet the faithful of the Diocese of Alba, accompanied by their Bishop Marco Brunetti, and I encourage them to draw strength from the Eucharist, to be witnesses of the gospel of charity. I also greet the missionary sisters of the Incarnation, the handmaids of the Blessed Virgin Immaculate, and the Sisters of the Child Jesus, who are holding their respective general chapters. I encourage them to be eloquent signs of God's love and missionaries of His peace. I joyfully welcome the faithful from Mola di Bari, Noepoli, and Grotteria, encouraging them to persevere in their good resolutions of fidelity to the gospel and to the Church. I also greet the Alpine Military School of Aosta and the Folgore Paratrooper Brigade. Dear soldiers, I invoke upon you and your families abundant heavenly gifts for an ever stronger Christian witness. My thoughts finally go to the young, the sick, and newlyweds. We have entered summer, a time of holidays and rest for many. For you, dear young people, may it be a time for valuable social and religious experiences. For you, dear newlyweds, a time to strengthen your union and deepen your mission in the Church and in society. I also hope that you, those who are ill, dear, may you not lack the closeness of loved ones during these summer months. To all my blessing. And now the Holy Father will lead us in the Our Father, sung in Latin.
Pater noster, qui es in celis, sanctificetur nomen tuum, adveniat regnum tuum, fiat voluntas tua, sicut in cielo et in terra. Panem nostrum quotidianum da nobis hodie, et dimitte nobis debita nostra, sicut et nos dimittimus debitoribus nostris, et ne nos inducas in tentationem, sed libera nos a malo. Dominus vobiscum.
Et cum spiritu tuo.
Sit nomen Domini benedictum.
Ex hoc nunc et usque in saeculum.
Adiutorium nostrum in nomine Domini.
Qui feci caelum et terram.
Benedicat vos omnipotens Deus, Pater et Filius et Spiritus Sanctus.
Amen.
And as we receive the Holy Father's apostolic blessing, we recall that the Holy Father will, in about an hour and a half, join the bishops for their Jubilee of Bishops. So we will be live again shortly, here in about an hour and a half, with another papal event. And this ends the live stream broadcast of Pope Leo's the 14th weekly general audience from St. Peter's Square. Please visit our Vatican News web portal, our Facebook, Instagram, X, and YouTube accounts for coverage of today's event, and other Vatican and world news. My name is Devin Watkins, and it has been a pleasure to provide the English language texts and translation for you. On behalf of Vatican Media, the Dicastery for Communication, I would like to thank our sound engineer, Patrizio Ciprati, and our audio coordinator, Father Pavel Reitel, and all of our media partners who have made this broadcast possible, and to all of you for joining us. Laudetur Jesus Christus, praised be Jesus Christ.
Católica mpingo ama ukonda